Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting the Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts, and I'm excited to introduce you to a new podcast series in partnership with Lord Fairfax Community College. Having provided higher education and career training for the past half-century, LFCC is tightly interwoven into the fabric of the Northern Shenandoah Valley and Piedmont regions. Join me every week for conversations with current and former students to hear their funny and inspiring stories as we learn about their journey to higher education, the role that LFCC has played, where they are now, and where they plan to go. We'll also talk to current and former professors about their experiences and best memories of LFCC over the past 50 years. Get every single episode as they're released on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab, or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, on Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for LFCC Stories. Hello and welcome to the Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Friday as you are listening to the show today. However, I am not quite to Friday yet. We are pre-recording our conversation on the Zoom screen on a Tuesday afternoon. I personally haven't even gotten to hump day yet. Neither has my guest, Ryan Hall. Ryan is joining me today, and he has a new hat on. He was on the show not too terribly long ago, and today he has a new hat. And we're going to be talking about Startup Shenandoah Valley. And Ryan, I don't know a lot, but what I do know sounds really, really cool. Tell me about Startup Shenandoah Valley.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Janet. Thanks for having me here. And, hopefully we can get through hump day tomorrow. So Startup Shenandoah Valley is a fairly new initiative focused on creating jobs in the Shenandoah Valley. And I think it's important, when I say Shenandoah Valley, that I kind of define what that is. For us, that's a big region. That's from Frederick County all the way down to Lexington, like Rockbridge County. It's a very, very long region. So this is a broad reach program. And our goal is essentially we're a business accelerator. So we want to find 8 to 12 companies in the Valley and put them through our coaching courses and provide them with mentors and help try to connect them to capital so that, over the next 5 years, they start hiring people.
Seems kind of simple and straightforward. You do know we're in a pandemic though, right?
It's true. But, I think that, the types of folks that are courageous enough and industrious enough to start businesses take those opportunities when they present themselves. And sometimes that means even during a global pandemic. So I know that there are a lot of folks that are hurting right now, a lot of business owners that are having some trouble or that are closing up shop. But at the same time, there are a lot of folks who are looking to start something new and create something, in a time of kind of turmoil. So, this program was kind of the brainchild of a few different organizations and was funded through Go Virginia. So it came from kind of state funding. And this is a program that has been in the works for a couple years and will be around for a while. So hopefully we'll be around long after the pandemic is over too. So, I think that that's important to think about too.
And if I understand this correctly, this is kind of like a business incubator on steroids. I mean, because you're really going to help walk these businesses. I mean, they have to do the work. They have to create their business plan. They have to have a logical idea and a product or a service that is going to be feasible. But you really do kind of guide them in those critical startup steps.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's important to mention that we, in the Shenandoah Valley, throughout the Shenandoah Valley, we have some really, really incredible resources. We have a lot of, each municipality has an economic development office. We have some really great resources at the small business development centers, and there are 2 in our region, and those folks are doing incredible things for businesses already. If you go visit like Christine Kriz in our area, so, if you haven't had her on your show recently to talk about some of the new programs she has, you should.
I'm making a note. I haven't. And yes, you're right. So I'm writing it down right now.
She has some exciting programs around helping small businesses hire out marketing professionals to to boost their marketing plan and get the word out. But yeah, definitely talk to her. We are specifically looking for businesses that are ready for kind of rapid and iterative development. So they are ready to grow and expand and scale quickly. So if you're in the very beginning and you're kind of trying to figure out if your idea is viable and you don't really have a business plan yet, you're going to want to go to one of the other resources, and we would be happy to direct you to those folks. But yeah, we're looking for, like you said, we're kind of the when you get to the point where you want to, I think the term you used was, we're a program on steroids, right? So we want to find those folks who are ready to grow and grow quickly. The program officially will begin for applicants that are accepted in January, and it'll be a 16-week long experience for them. So they also need to be fully dedicated to seeing this through.
Is the program going to be mostly virtual given our current pandemic circumstances? Because I'm guessing that would probably be easier for a lot of businesses to be able to participate if they don't physically have to come to a location to learn something on any given day.
Great question. You're exactly right. Yeah. So all of the coaching is virtual. So the businesses will meet once a week, I believe, for an hour or two and go through coursework and get homework from our coaches and different people. And then that information will help them build their plan for scaling up and building out their business.
Are there certain types of business that you've kind of created this for, certain types of businesses that you think will excel in this kind of an environment?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's great to talk about too. So there are 5 primary, what we're calling sectors that we're looking at. And that's anybody interested in or doing light manufacturing. So producing products on a kind of a small scale, food production, technology, agriculture, and professional services. Now, of course, those could encompass a lot, and there's also some overlap between some of those, right? But that's okay. We wanted it to be kind of broad. It's a little easier to sort of describe what may not be a good fit for the program. And for us, we're looking at trying to identify businesses in the region that over the next 5 years are going to hire 5 employees or more at higher than the median income, so at higher than $50,000. And so generally speaking, Main Street businesses might not be the best fit for this program. They may, but probably not. But anything in the light manufacturing, food production, professional services, technology, or agriculture sectors, those seem to fit better with what we're looking at.
And that's a key thing to point out too, because, my full-time gig is running a social media marketing company, and this wouldn't work for me because I'm never going to hire that many people. It's typically just me, maybe somebody else that I could totally use somebody else to just be my assistant, but I sub out a lot of my work from web design and things along those lines. So I'm not really going to be your target customer. It's those people who maybe have this great recipe for salsa or something like that they need to get to the next stage that could get into manufacturing it and getting it into grocery stores and things like that. Is that how it works?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, if you wanted to, if you had a great recipe for salsa and you wanted to scale it up and start selling it to Costco or some other grocery store, that would be perfect for us. If you are thinking about selling your salsa at a salsa restaurant, probably not the best fit for us. Also kind of a weird concept for a restaurant, but
It depends on how much you like salsa. And in this pandemic, anything goes.
Yeah, right.
Well, and it makes sense too, because typically when we think of these types of programs, and whether you want to call them incubators or whatever else, we think of them as for these micro small businesses, and light manufacturing is a key cornerstone of a lot of our communities, and they never do get that to that next level because there aren't a lot of resources available for them. So this is going to be perfect, I think.
Yeah. And like I said, there are so many really, really fantastic resources out there in the region already. And, it seems like There's a lot of resources for people who are trying to figure out if their idea is going to work. And then there are even some resources for businesses that are already like doing really, really well. There's another accelerator in our region called Scale Up the Valley, but they're looking for people that are at like $1 million in revenue and above. And so we're kind of filling that gap between, or that's our vision, is to kind of fill that gap between those two. So hopefully you exit our program in a few years, you make $1 million and we can pass you off to Scale Up. That's that.
Well, let's take a quick break. When we come back, can we talk a little bit about what this program is going to look like? You mentioned that they're going to meet weekly and they're going to talk to coaches. Can we talk a little bit about how that's going to work and how people can apply? Because this isn't open to just anybody and everybody. You do have a limited number of spaces that are available. There's an application process, I assume. So can we get into the weeds on all of that in the next segment?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we're going to do all of that with Ryan Hall. He is, and I love his title, he is an entrepreneurial ecosystem builder with Startup Shenandoah Valley. We are talking about this program. We're going to get more details on it in the next segment. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Do you know anyone who is struggling with financial hardships because of coronavirus? Our new webinar called Coping with the Money Crunch can help. We'll talk about immediate options to consider, revising or creating a spending plan, and lots of community resources. Then we'll cover how to narrow your priorities, contact creditors, and avoid scams and risky loans. The webinar is free, and you can either join by phone or through Zoom on a smartphone, tablet, or computer. You can find out more by visiting the Northern Shenandoah Valley Financial Education Program on Facebook or calling Karen Poff at 540-635-4549. Let me show you how to make your own plan or help someone you care about get through the crisis. Call 635-4549 or visit at NSV Financial Education on Facebook today.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Friday as you are listening to the show today. We, however, have pre-recorded our conversation on the Zoom screen on a still gloomy Tuesday afternoon. Ryan Hall has met me on the screen today. He is an entrepreneurial ecosystem builder. We've been talking about Startup Shenandoah Valley, but Ryan, I kind of want to take a detour a little bit and have you explain to me what an entrepreneurial ecosystem builder is, because it sounds challenging.
Yeah, some days maybe. Yeah, I definitely need 2 business cards to fit that title on, don't I? It's pretty big. So my role has two functions, right? It's one is helping to run the accelerator that we've been talking about, but the second is to kind of help make those connections in the community for entrepreneurs. So for instance, our application is open to everyone, our interest form. And if you don't quite fit with Startup Shenandoah Valley, we're going to make sure that you get a referral to someone who would be better suited for you, whether that's a small business development center or, a local EDA or, maybe a local university for their Center for Entrepreneurship or whatever they may have. Part of the grant funding that helped build out this program specifically wants us to address kind of mapping those resources and making sure that through some sort of database or system that we know where those resources are located so that we can make sure that they're easy to find and ultimately build the Shenandoah Valley out as this center for entrepreneurship and innovation and creativity. And so it's a big title, and there's a lot of work that goes into that, I think. So,
well, you just mentioned the application process. So talk to me about how that works for Startup Shenandoah Valley.
Yeah, great question. So you can find more information at Stanton Fund, STAUNTONFUND.org/ the letter S, the number 2, and the letter V as in Victor. And our interest form is located there. Basic questions about you as an entrepreneur, what your vision is, and how you want to achieve that vision. And from that process, we will try to identify businesses that really fit with this accelerator program. And then we have a committee that will make the final approval on folks. And so once accepted into the program, these entrepreneurs will take kind of a pretest so we can gauge where they are, and they'll get what's called a fluency score. And so we'll know before they start the program that they scored maybe a 70 or an 80. And so we know that, they have kind of experience in this field. They have a business plan. They've already sold their product, right? So we have a kind of a understanding of where they are. And then, as I mentioned, there's a 1 to 2 hour commitment each week for 8 weeks, where you'll be working with a coach to kind of build out this scale up program where you're planning on hiring more employees and over the next 5 years or so. And then there's 8 weeks of implementation. So a total of 16 weeks where you're in the program and you're building your plan and then putting it into practice. And so then at the end, we'll do a post test and we'll see how much your scores improved, right? And so that way we can kind of track how we're building this ecosystem of smart, capable entrepreneurs in the Valley.
And you've got to have a huge database of resources yourself in order to have these coaches and these mentors available, especially kind of going in blind at this point, because you don't know who that does what is necessarily going to make it to that final approval stage.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point that not a lot of people ask me about. So thank you. Yeah, you never know what an entrepreneur is going to come up with a business plan. It's always something different. There are so many different ideas out there. And so someone may, say, I have a really, really great business, but, I'm having trouble finding a location or something. And so then that's where we would partner with local EDAs or things like that. But maybe they have some really big issue with someone stealing their intellectual property in some other country. And it's like, whoa, who do you go to for that, right? So the problems are very unique, very different every single time one comes across our desk. We're lucky in that, we do have a lot of really excellent partners. And I've mentioned so many of them already across the Valley. And we're partnering with some national organizations and some outside organizations as well to help provide some of the coaching and some of the other mentors. So yeah, it's a pretty big network to manage. But the other exciting thing is we're always finding more people. We're always finding people in the Valley who have been successful entrepreneurs or successful in maybe merging companies or things of that nature. And those are the folks that, we want to keep around as potential mentors or keep them top of mind just in case one of those strange questions comes up later down the road.
Now, is there a fee to participate in this program? Is there an application fee? I mean, how much does it cost a business in order to work their way through this program?
That's another great question that we get a lot of. So I'll start by saying the state of Virginia really wants to see the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the Shenandoah Valley prosper and thrive and succeed. And so there's no fee for the application process. There's no fee for joining the program. We are a nonprofit organization as well. So we're providing this service just because for the good of the community. Other accelerator networks or other accelerator programs, in the state or in the country may ask for equity in the company. We don't do that either. It's really about creating jobs in the Valley and seeing people succeed. So completely free.
Well, and I want you, because you just said creating jobs in the Valley, and you touched on this in the first segment. I think we all live in our own little bubbles. And when we think Shenandoah Valley, most of us here think of our 5 surrounding counties, but that isn't the true Shenandoah Valley. So can you give a quick re-explanation of what you mean when you say businesses in the Shenandoah Valley?
Yeah, absolutely. So the easy way to think about it is Frederick County down to Rockbridge County. I'm going to list them all off. So prepare yourself. But it's Frederick County, Winchester City, Clark County, Shenandoah County, Warren County, Page County, Rockingham County, Harrisonburg City, Highland County, Augusta County, Stanton, Waynesboro, Bath County, Rockbridge, Lexington, and Buena Vista. So it's a big region. So there are actually, if you're in in more of the southern area, there are 2 entrepreneurial ecosystem builders for our region. I cover everything from Harrisonburg North, and then I have a counterpart who covers everything from Harrisonburg South. We kind of split Harrisonburg, and his name is Alex Andrews. So if you get an email from him after you've applied, that's who it is.
And then the two of you will work together on one cohesive program. And I think that's cool too, because sometimes because we live in our bubble, somebody in Frederick County or Clark County might not have access to a business or a business person in Lexington. So this is going to be a great opportunity for them to see what happens on the other end of the Shenandoah Valley.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. There could, the one person that you might need for your, to help you get through the issue that you're having might be in Lexington. Right. And so that's our goal, is to try to make sure that if that person's out there and we can find them, we're going to get you two connected so that, you can both succeed.
You mentioned at the top of the show that there are particular types of businesses that you're looking for as well. Can you give me a quick rundown of those one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're looking for businesses that are focused on agriculture, technology, professional services, food production, and light manufacturing. And so, as I mentioned before, a lot of those businesses have the ability to employ people at a wage above, the median income, which is around $50,000 in our area. So that's what we're really looking for, is businesses that have that capability of employing folks right here in the Valley and providing a livable income.
And the program's going to start in January of 2021, but you're kind of up against a deadline now for anyone who's listening. If they want to apply, they kind of need to get to your website and do that sooner rather than later.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to start looking at the applications November 13th. So that's the deadline for applications. And we need that time. As I mentioned, we give a pre-test to all the folks who get into the system. And so we need a little bit of time to run them through that process and get the scores tabulated and back to us, and to build out kind of, who the mentors are going to be and how the program is going to function. And plus, we have all those holidays in there. So we wanted to give enough time for people to spend with their families.
Can you give me the website one more time where they can find all that information?
Absolutely. StantonFund.org/, the letter S, the number 2, the letter V as in Victor.
And I will make sure that link is also on the show notes page. So if anybody's listening and they can't pull over alongside the road in their car and write it down, they'll be able to access it later. But Ryan, thank you for taking some time out of your afternoon to have this conversation with me. I think this is a really cool program. And once you get through the first several weeks, I think we should have you back and we can talk about who you got in the program and what the status is. Maybe we'll do an ongoing series with some of these businesses and what they're doing.
I would love that. I think that's really pivotal to building out the ecosystem, is making sure that we show some appreciation for these entrepreneurs and all the incredible things they're doing for the Valley. So yeah, that would be great.
Awesome. Well, we are going to wrap up our conversation today with Ryan Hall. He is an entrepreneurial ecosystem builder, and I just like saying that. That's why I keep putting his title out there with Startup Shenandoah Valley. Again, I will put all of the details for everything that we talked about today up on the show notes page. Of course, you're listening to this on a Friday. I hope it is a good Friday for you. I hope it is a great weekend ahead of us for you. Again, I'm sitting here on a Tuesday with puppies that are making me crazy, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be making me crazy over the weekend too. So have a great one. I'll meet you back here on Monday, just a few minutes after noon. I'll have a brand new episode of The Valley Today ready to go for you.